to begin because honestly, writing has never been your forte. I hear you. I hear you. English and writing. Oh my God, diagramming sentences in seventh grade. I still think of it all these years later. It's like, but now with all this new artificial intelligence that helps us write, maybe that book is gonna come to fruition a lot faster, and that's today on Make a Click, I'm so happy to have with me my friend Kelly Falardeau, who is a best-selling author strategist. She is an author herself. She has authored numerous books. Welcome to Make a Click, Kelly. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me, Christine. I was so excited about your show, and I'm just so happy to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here and talking about artificial intelligence. Now, you help people to draw out of them their stories and put it on paper. But I would imagine over these years, you've had some people that have really been struggling to make that happen, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's interesting because I put it up on Facebook the other day, and I said to my tribe, like, how come you haven't started your book? And basically, it's because they don't know how to start. And yeah, that's how easy it can be. Is they just don't know how to start, how to write that first word on their paper.
But they've got a story to tell that the world really needs to know about, I would imagine. And it's like with all of us in our businesses, if we're not out there even making the sales, it's like people are suffering because we're not helping them. And it's the same thing writing your story, getting it out in a book. It's like people need to hear this. And the longer you wait, the fewer people you're going to help. So for months now, we've been talking about this artificial intelligence. Predominantly, Chat GPT is the big one, the name that's going around. Now, isn't that kind of cheating to get your story out, though, using something like that? I mean, is it really using something like artificial intelligence? Doesn't that take away the humanity? What your root story is really about.
Well, I've been using it more as a brainstorming tool. And I feel like when you put the right stuff into the prompts, it'll bring out things that I never thought about.
Mm,
And that's what I love about it is that it helped me to actually be more creative because
mm,
it'll give me ideas that I never ever thought about. And, for example, I wanted to just do something fun. And so I said, I asked it, I said, what are what are some things that people struggle with when, training their puppy? And it gave me a whole list of like 8 or 9 things that people struggle with, for like house training and, keeping them on the leash and all these ideas. And I thought, okay,
mhm.
this is kind of cool. And I thought, let's take it one step further. Let's get it to expand on the house training. Like, how do you house train a dog? And then it gave me like all of the steps. But the beautiful thing about it is that it gives you a foundational piece to work with. So yeah, I may have had it write out all this, this structure, but now I can go and add my personal stories into it.
Mm.
So then I don't feel like I'm cheating. I feel like it's really expanding my thoughts and it's expanding my creativity and it's helping me to expand and think about things that I never thought of. Sometimes, you know how it is, Christine, we get really narrow-minded, and we're just seeing something like this and we don't think about all the other stuff that's all around it. And so that's what I really believe ChatGPT helped me to do is expand my thinking and my creativity.
So, is there a difference then in using something like that versus just Googling a question? What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that that's a very good question, Christine. You have to think about that.
I told you I come up with the darndest questions.
You do. And that one is, I think, because like Google will just give you a list of things, but it doesn't expand and dig deeper. Whereas I find with ChatGPT, it really tries to explain things better. So that's what I like about it, is it just explains it better, and it draws from the internet, and it pulls out facts and figures. It'll even pull out websites for you. So for example, I wanted a list of libraries because I want to get my books into the libraries.
Mhm.
So at first I said, please give me a list of libraries to, sell my books to. And it said, I don't have a list. But then I said, please access the libraries and give me a table with the name of the library and their website. And sure enough, it did it. So it gave
Wow.
me a list of libraries. So I just had to change that one word. And so I loved it because it created that whole table. Whereas with Google, if I would have said, give me a list of libraries, it probably would have given me a better list, but
Mhm.
it wouldn't have put it in a table for me so that I
Mhm.
can then copy and paste it and then go put it into Google spreadsheets and then access it there.
Wow. So you really have to know how to, like I said, feed it the right way, uh, asking it in the right way. So it's not necessarily something that professionals have to worry about. And this is another question, that keeps coming. Is, oh my goodness, it's going to put people out of a job. But I guess for the people who struggle with, okay, you don't know where to start to write your book, and then, okay, go to ChatGPT. Well, no, wait a minute. You have to know how to ask it the right questions. So I would guess there really isn't that much to worry about of replacing writers, I guess. Would that
Well, it can't replace writers because you still need a human to activate it and make
Mhm,
it work.
mhm,
And, like I know some people that don't even like ChatGPT because they maybe put in a question that didn't give them the results that they wanted.
mhm,
So, for example, like I asked it to, um, write me a blog post, and it was very serious. But then I said, okay, write me a blog post about grit, guts, and courage, which is my next book, and make it funny. And so then it rewrote that blog post, and it had grit, guts, and courage in it, and it had some funny stuff in it, and it just sounded more like me.
mm,
So that's what I love about it. And one of the other things that I do is I put in the prompt, actually, one of my mentors calls it a primer prompt. So you say, you are a book publisher who is helping people to write their books and get them out to market, and you focus on nonfiction books. How can I help people more, or something like that? And then it'll give you all this information.
mm,
And then you can just keep building on that. And so that's what I love about it, is when you tell it more about who you are and what you want it to act as, it's going to give you some better information.
mm. So you're using it, as you said, to generate ideas, to get information. Have you looked at anything that is like an article that it wrote? Do you know if you have to worry about it being plagiarized? Is that a concern with this?
Well, I do know that some people have some concerns with it. And so there is some plagiarism checking AI software that you can use. I've never tried it. And then
Mhm,
the next question people always ask me about is copyright. And
mhm,
so what I say about copyright is, from what I know, you can use it, because copyright, from what I've been told, AIs can't be copyrighted.
mm,
Does that make any sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense. But anyway, what I say to people is, get some expert opinions from people who are experts in the copyright law and that sort of thing. Like, don't go by what I say.
yeah.
But from what I do know, you can use the AI content and copyright it.
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess, I mean, because copywriting is saying, "I created that," but if you didn't create it, how could you get that copyright then? Yeah, that is an
Yeah,
interesting
I
one.
don't know. I don't know how to answer that properly, right? I
Yeah,
don't think that there is a straight answer for that question.
mhm,
I just know that I like to take what AI has written for me, and then I like to add my own personality to it, so it sounds more like it's coming from me and not a robot.
mm,
So,
mm,
but one of the things that I love is that, like, I'm creating an audio podcast, and, I did 3 interviews, and I needed to come up with the show title, the show description, and then the show notes. So, I put that into ChatGPT and I said, "Here is, I did an interview about, this person. Please come up with the show note, the title, and the description." And sure enough, it wrote it all up for me. And it was like, I never would have thought of that. And so that's
Wow.
what I'm loving about it, is that it's really helping me to be a lot more efficient
Mhm.
and productive. And
Yeah.
Christine, in this world, we seem to work ourselves so hard and we want to make it easier for ourselves. So I just say try it and see if it works for you. And if
Yeah.
it does, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But I think when you start to play with it, you'll realize, oh my gosh, like, how did I live without this?
But put a timer on. Don't go down a rabbit hole and spend hours there when you need to be doing something else. It's one of those things. Well, it sounds like you have really learned a lot of how to work, Chat GPT and have it produce what you need. Do you have something that you would like to offer the audience that will help them? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things that they can do. Is one is we are having a workshop on April 1st, and I'm doing it in conjunction with Kimberly Crow, and it's called Chat GPT: Writing Content in the Blink of an Eye. And I just love it because we're going to show you how to, write social media posts, right? How many times have we got stuck? We don't know what to say on social media. Uh, Blog posts, email sequences, even website content, right? Like I need to write a landing page for another Chat GPT thing I want to do. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what to write. So we just put it in Chat GPT. Please write me some landing page content for a course about, Chat GPT. And it came up with the whole thing for me. And even like, the social media posts and all of that stuff, it just came up with all of it. So I just love playing with it, and yeah, it has taken me down the rabbit hole a few times, but it makes me more efficient, so I'm happy.
Well, and again, so it's created another revenue stream for people like you. Now somebody needs to teach everybody how to effectively use it. So where it's with all of innovation and whatnot. Oh no, it's going to do away with these jobs. Oh, but now it's created these. So it's just that cycle, I guess.
It is so true. And like even like I have a lot of clients that I work with to write their books. And so sometimes they'll be stuck. They're like, I just don't know what to do with this. And so I say, okay, let's put in the topic into Chat GPT. Let's come up with, a summary of your book or
Mhm.
a book outline, right? I love doing that, coming up with a book outline. And then I'll say, okay, expand on that point and expand on this point, expand on that point, and it'll just start writing. And it's
Mhm.
just crazy how much it'll write and how quickly it writes it. But what my clients are loving about it is they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like ChatGPT is right in my head. Like
Mm.
one of my clients is a psychic artist. And so we asked ChatGPT, expand on what a psychic artist is. And sure enough, it told us what a psychic artist was. And she's like, oh my gosh, Kelly, that's like, how did ChatGPT get in my head?
Well, and I've heard that when you use it over time, it is learning about you and your styles and who you are. So that truly is artificial intelligence. Wow.
It
That is
is.
amazing. This has been a great conversation, Kelly. I'm so happy to have you here. I do have one last question though, and it's not about well, maybe it is about GPT. I don't know, but the question is, when you think about your own business of all these years, is there something that you always think of like, wow, when I learned that, that really changed the direction of my business? Or maybe let's not go with technology. Let's go with what did you learn that really has changed the direction for your business?
Hmm. That's another great question, Christine. Especially if I'm not allowed to talk about technology. So,
I usually ask what is a piece of technology, but in this case, since we've been talking about,
yeah.
Chat GPT, it's like, maybe we or if there is a different piece of technology that you have appreciated in the past.
Well, I think what has changed my business is just like getting mentors involved and working with other people and um listening to them. Like I never thought 10 years ago that I would have a documentary about my life story. And one of my mentors said to me, "Cal, like I think your story should be a documentary." And I was like, "I don't understand." And he goes, "No, seriously, like your story is so powerful." And sure enough, I found a way to write a book proposal, and then I entered it into a contest with Hay House, and I didn't win the contest. But I said to myself, "Why else did I write this book proposal?" And I heard that little voice in my head say, "Email it, Brian." And so I emailed Brian, who works for a broadcaster here in Canada, and I told him about my book proposal, which was called Still Beautiful. And I said, I'm being encouraged to make a documentary out of it. I said, I don't know if this is a stupid idea or not. And he goes, no, send it over. And sure enough, 2 years later, my life story was made into a documentary.
Wow.
And so I that has changed my business tremendously because I feel like we don't always see the power in our stories and we don't always understand how our stories are going to impact people. And just like you were saying earlier in our interview, Christine, our stories are meant to help other people. And if we don't write our books and we don't share a message, we're not going to help people. And so it's up to us because I believe that that's why we go through these challenges. That's why I got burnt as a 2-year-old, was so that I could learn how to deal with all the staring and teasing and bullying and still, find a way to persevere and have a good life. And so I have to say that, listening to Jay tell me, Kelly, do this. So many times we quit. We quit too quickly because things get hard, and so we just quit. And when life gets hard, we're just supposed to keep persevering.
Oh, that's beautiful, Kelly. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you so much for being my guest here on Make It Click.
You are very welcome.